Cindy is on. We're really excited
she's
to
waiting.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening for a national live interview series. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, my name is Tugender. I'm sitting in Boston today. I am the National Sales Manager for NutraMetrix. Really excited about bringing cutting edge technology, the latest resources to practitioners, healthcare practitioners to add to their practice, like our guest has here today, but also to patients through revolutionary technology, through things even as innovative as a split interview on a Facebook Live. You know, we love the technology to make things so it's just easier for you to get yourselves educated and find out what the latest trends are in healthcare. And today we're going to talk about mental health as a part of your healthcare. Really important topic. And it's become a really fun subculture in NutraMetrix. And what we do is how mental health practitioners are using our information, using our tools and resources, and integrating some of our products. And so I am joined today by Renee Carlson. Renee is a licensed practical counselor. Hey, Kathy from Canada. She's a registered play therapist and an integrative health coach. Renee understands so well why mental health is really important because she has been helping children and families for 15 years and she has 2 kids herself. So how she juggles it all, I'm going to have to do a whole separate interview with her because I want to. And,
You're doing it.
But it's blending the mental health counseling with the health coaching to treat the whole person. I mean, that's what we talked about when we were waiting to get online, and the in-depth trainings, the workshops that she, can help people with from work, from home. So Renee, thank you for taking the time tonight because I know you're still at the office because you're sitting, tell everyone where you are right now.
Well, hey everybody, thank you so much, Sarah, for inviting me. I'm really happy to do this. It's a passion of mine to assist other people to learn more about mental health. We were just talking, I'm involved with a collaboration out here in Victoria, Minnesota is where my office is. And I'm in a collaboration to destigmatize mental health for people. So we want to make it more normal and an everyday conversation because it's part of our health. So,
that's awesome. I know Logan Airport recently here in Boston had a big campaign about, I wonder if it's the same type of organization. We should compare notes, but I remember having some friends and that is such a big trend today. And so, I mean, where is your specialty? Because on your website, it sounds like you're kind of doing it all.
Yeah.
Kids, is it with families? Is it, who do you best serve?
So my passion first started, I was a social worker years ago, and my passion started as a school social worker, so kids. And within that world, I actually jumped into the mental health counseling world because I did not agree with medications for children. And that was years and years ago, way before I knew about NutraMetrix. And I went and got my degree and did my thesis on how chemicals affect the development of children. And then from there, just dove into it and work with children all the way up to adults now. I like to keep a balance because I do have 2 children of my own, and obviously within the mental health world, we want to make sure that we're not getting burnt out. So I see children as young as 3, I'll see families though, and then I see people all the way up to 60, 70 years old has been the oldest. So yeah.
Awesome. And how do you work with practitioners of other specialties, or why is mental health? I mean, I'm going to ask you guys a 2-part question and let you just kind of roll with it. Just why it's so important. Through my day, I mean, I don't personally go to see a mental health counselor, but I know if there was ever an issue, maybe I would want my dermatologist to tell me, or my GYN, or my eye doctor. I mean, does that even make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Because now in today's mental health world, when you're keeping up with all of the research, we know about the gut-brain connection, and we know that our serotonin starts in our gut, and we know that our neurotransmitters start in our gut, and the messages go up and down. And we need to fuel our bodies properly for those signals to be sent. And if we're not fueling our stomachs in the proper way, then the rest of our bodies do not operate. We even have parts of our immune system in our gut, about 80%. And so we really need to focus on our whole system. Our brain is not separate from our bodies. So when someone comes in to see me, I actually first start with a wellness questionnaire and the traditional intake, but I'm asking questions about how are you sleeping, who are you seeing, how are you going to the bathroom, what's wrong with your skin, because you mentioned dermatologist. Well, skin for me is one of the first indicators because it's a visual for me to know what's going on inside. Our skin is our largest organ, and so we are going to detox either through bowel movements or through our skin. And so working with dermatologists, of course, the general practitioner, medical doctors. I work with physical therapists. I work with speech pathologists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, of course, school staff. So there's a whole world out there where we need to be involved and on board to create a treatment plan and a regimen that's, customized. That's what I love about NutraMetrix, because we're customized to meet people's needs, and we can turn things up and down for the best fit for whoever we're working with, whether it's, the 3-year-old or the grandma that I'm meeting with. So we can really tweak things. And because I'm an integrative health coach too, I use those tools to incorporate this whole bio-individual assessment, and then refer out. I network with people here, with other providers in the area to meet the needs based on whatever they're presenting. I might say, whoa, that's out of my spectrum. I need to refer you to the allergist maybe, or to the chiropractor for that, whatever it might be. So yeah.
This gut-brain connection. So they're saying, like, when you have a gut feeling,
mm-hmm.
what do you mean by neurotransmitters? Could you tell me, so those like cells that give information to what, to your brain or to other body systems, or what exactly?
Yeah. So the neurotransmitters are those signals, the synapses and everything that are created to tell parts of our bodies, well, our brain first, and then our brains tell our bodies what to do. And it starts in our gut. So we need to give it the proper fuel. Actually, today I posted on my business page about vitamin D and about our B complex, because here we are in the winter months. And we all know that, like, serotonin is this happy hormone, but how do we get serotonin? Well, food, but food isn't the same. We don't all eat properly. We're eating out of a box or a window. And so we need to fuel our body to create those neurotransmitters. And so especially vitamin D, because every cell in our body has a receptor for vitamin D. And then we need B6 in order to create that synthesis for serotonin and melatonin to be produced in our body. And I focus on the basics to get those precursors and the cofactors for our body's production of all of that naturally. And that's how I work with people when they come in here. And that in turn incorporates those neurotransmitters. And then they go up the vagus nerves and back down and throughout our bodies to send those signals to help us think. the other piece of it is that our brain then needs all of that fuel to incorporate that synthesis process. So we can actually get those signals sent out. It's a whole synergistic process to have that happen. We are a small computer, I guess. It's up and down, and it's because it starts in our gut, which is really reverse from what we've been taught for so many years. So we have to start in our gut. You know, when I was a kid, I was always told you are what you eat. And we know now that it's true. So like just today, a young client of mine came in and she's sucking on this candy that made her tongue blue. And Dad was here and I said, look at her tongue. What does that say to you? And he said, well, I'm not really sure. I'm like, well, what color is it? Blue. How do you think that's affecting then her body? And he was like floored because he had never thought about that before. And that's what I'm teaching people here. And so then he's going to go back hopefully and talk to, you know, whether it's his doctor, whatever other provider, because then we got into a bigger conversation and he's going to tell everybody he knows now about it. And that's my focus is, you know, educating and dispersing this information to anyone possible.
I don't know whether to say that your kids, I mean, your kids are lucky that you're their mom, but probably like, well, I'm going to commandeer all your Halloween candy and I know exactly what that does to your brain. And as an adult, I mean, I've just kind of relinquished to the fact that I'm probably going to mess up my kids, but I do, the things I can control are what goes into their body. And so you just further validated why I myself am like the no fun mom and was making, you'll be proud, I was making my daughter's birthday cake and she wanted pink frosting and I did my own homemade buttercream frosting with raspberries to make it pink and
yes.
That, yeah. Yeah. But
especially when I do presentations, people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, how are we supposed to live that way? And then I tell them, oh, honey, I've got products for that. Okay. You know, with NutraMetrix, we can still live an 80-20 lifestyle. You know, eat as best you can 80% of the time. But yeah, you know what? We still have those things. We have our you know, Halloween candy and we do all of that stuff. Yeah. But we have our enzymes, we have our aloe, we have probiotics. You know, we have all these things that we can help with detoxing and getting that out of the system. But we're not doing it every day and we're not doing it in more than a serving size. That's another problem is we're giving too much in a serving when we don't need that much. So
that's what I was going to get into. Like what other supplements, what do you reach to when you think of NutraMetrix that's a natural fit? I mean, you said a lot of different things. So we've talked a little bit about the gut. So you talked about probiotics, digestive enzymes, aloe, you know, that's what I think of. But what else? I mean, vitamin. Talked about our
sitting right here is vitamin D gummy.
First of all, you even said that you had props. Talk about this.
Well, I'm in my office, so I have those in hand. But yeah, so obviously aloe, especially when I'm meeting with kiddos who are having trouble with any intestinal issues and going to the bathroom. That's my first go-to is aloe and probiotics and enzymes. Yeah. And then probably the next thing would be my B vitamins. I use B vitamins a lot. It is, well, I have Turnup somewhere, you know, I use Turnup. I don't see it now. But I've always got my Turnup here and my B vitamins on hand so that I can even demonstrate and show my clients how to use that right here in the moment so they can learn. And then magnesium. Oh my gosh, magnesium is a huge hit.
Why for your specialty? That doesn't sound like a fit for me. So explain that to me.
Sleep.
Ooh.
It's one of the precursors for sleep. It helps to promote L-tryptophan and melatonin, along with vitamin D, like I mentioned, and B vitamins. So all of that works together in order for us to produce what we need and to sleep properly. Many kids that I work with do not sleep well. And it also helps with constipation. And then it helps to detox the body. So people have, one of the rages right now is have an Epsom salt bath. Well, what's Epsom salt? Magnesium.
Oh.
I do a magnesium Epsom salt bath probably 2-3 times a week for just myself and my kids. Just the other night, my son said, "Oh, just pour that right on my leg." And we're putting the Epsom salt on right on his body while he's in the bath. And they don't even want bubbles. They just want their Epsom salt because they know the results. And they're asking for that stuff that has magnesium in it. And we use the Calcium Plus for bedtime with the kids. So they're asking for it. They know underneath that it feels better. So when people come in, for me, in my health coaching or mental health, that's my go-to. Yeah.
But what little yellow baggie did you just have earlier? Because you didn't tell.
Oh, yeah, that's the DNA, vitamin D with vitamin C in the chews.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, my kids love these. I went up and took a shower one day and came down and there's wrappers all over the table.
Yeah, they're like Starburst. They're delicious.
I was like, whoa. Okay, step it back. Okay.
Yeah, I put them in my purse when I travel. Like if I need a sweet thing, I'm like, well, it's got to be better than like reaching for a piece of candy. So I'm like, does anyone want a vitamin D chew?
I know. Yeah. Exactly. So those are my go-to things immediately whenever someone comes to me and they're talking about those symptoms that they have and they're not feeling good. They're feeling icky inside for some reason. And that's what I start with. Now, in my world, the first thing that I would recommend, and I wish I could make it a law, is that people do the gene snip. I incorporate my gene snip here for people, and I really wish everyone would, because we can test and not guess anymore and have just a regimen for the rest of your life. So whether you're working with mental health, whether you're working with somebody medically with their glucose, with their methylation factors, I get all that together for them, and if I don't know the answer, I reach out or I refer them back to their medical doctor, of course. And so that has just been a huge benefit to know exactly what they need. So
you bring up a good point too, because what I love about NutraMetrix is the network of providers that we have. And so you just said, if you don't know the answer, but I think it's more than just sending them back to their provider. I mean, you do have I know your friends, Renee, and you have friends to tap into. And, I would encourage everyone on here, you obviously found this from one of your NutraMetrix health providers, ask them about Gene Snip. More and more of them are implementing it and making it a part of their practice. And refer them back to this video where you heard about it, just to say, because you're right. I know for my family, it has saved us so much time in trying to figure out what we exactly need, so much money in figuring out what we exactly need. And when you're a provider, there's no age limit. So I know I have 2 kids. I haven't done the baby yet, but I actually have a provider run one for my daughter, and it helps. I mean, maybe it's just trying to give her a predisposition to liking broccoli because cruciferous vegetables will help. I don't want to do the training here, but I mean, it sounds like if you're using it for behavior health. And
Yes. And I saw that Val answered too. Thank you, Val. Because I can't see all of that where I'm at. So, but yes, behavior health. There are gene SNPs that are specific and some that overlap, of course. They all work together. And so we get all of these results. And thank you. You're a blessing, Dr. Deidre Mason, for everything you've done, because you've made it so simple for us too. And you're working on even more stuff to help us. Because, yeah, some of these things are not my specialty as a mental health provider. So we look at those SNPs for mental health, and we're learning and always consulting, whether it is with Dr. Mason or other providers who are using the SNP. We come together here and help find the best treatment and the best regimen and what is needed for the best health, that bio-individual, customized solution for the person. So, yeah, and the research for mental health and gene SNPs is profound. When you go out there, it's overwhelming right now because it is the hot trend. Whether it's MTHFR, whether it's COMT, BDNF, there's so many, and it gets confusing. The one thing that I really plug with our gene SNP is that when you have it done, the provider then comes back with all of this information, and that's not typical. I actually have to get back to somebody tonight because they posted on a page that I belong to, well, where'd you get yours interpreted? And I thought, well, did you read what I wrote? I do it. Yeah. But nobody understands that that's even a possibility, that, you know, ideally, and for best practice, this should be done by a health professional, so that you can go back and get your results and have that interpretation and that one-on-one, because otherwise I think they're still guessing then, and we don't want to guess anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so great. Yeah, I just encourage more people, just ask your provider. And if not, we have such a great network, you know, to be able to help serve you, that that's what I love. I love this. So, you know, for you, what is the optimal health spiel that you give your patients, your family, your friends? What's the foundation?
Yeah. So my spiel, I guess, is going back to basics. It's really thinking about what our body needs, and thinking about naturally how our bodies can function with, first and foremost, food, but we don't get all of everything from food. You know, like just today, my talk I did on my Facebook page, 70% of people are vitamin D deficient, because things are not what they used to be. So we have to go back to food, sleep, and then supplements, and incorporating all of this for best health. So when I meet with clients, I start there, and that's definitely what I talk to my friends and family about too. And I also say, well, how are you feeling? Because oftentimes we're hearing, well, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and I go to, well, what would you still like to improve on? And what are some things you would like to change? Because we might be thinking we're doing the best, but we may not be feeling the best. And it's just amazing to me when I meet with people and what just getting adequate sleep, or all of a sudden they tell me like, oh, yeah, actually, you know, I haven't, I'm trying to think of an example. I haven't had a bowel movement for 2 weeks. Well, whoa, what? You know, so as you dig a little bit deeper, you all of a sudden get this information, and it's, you know, back to the basics about health, sleep, eat, you know, bathroom stuff. And since I work with kids, I talk about that stuff a lot. Especially with some of the emojis that are out there right now. Kids love talking about
those. Whenever anyone watches them, it's always like the poop report. Like, did he poop?
Right?
What was it like? Like, what we're talking Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going there. Yes, it's a necessity.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge. And so I think more people need to have those conversations and whatever, who cares if it ends up, it should be on everyone's intake form. I'm always surprised, like, you know, why isn't it on the dentist intake form? Why isn't it on your physical therapist? Like if everyone just asks the questions, and you're right. I mean, that's the connection between mental health all the way through. Like we know that.
Yep.
Knowing better means, you guys take an oath as practitioners to do better once you know. I like putting the onus back on the patient and saying to us as the patient, we have to be our best health advocate. And I saw a Facebook Live with Renee and Sarah, and this is what they say we should be talking about, Doc. So ask me about my poop today.
Yeah. And food, just because you're eating something doesn't mean that it's the right something. Just tonight I gave a notebook. I always have notebooks on hand so that I can give to people saying, journal for me what you're eating. And not just what the food is, but what type of food and what brand of food, because I need to know the ingredients. One little thing might trigger something for a person. Wow. So, sent this person home with that. So that's another question. I know I read something a while ago about how medical doctors are now being told you need to ask what's in your refrigerator. Not just are you eating. Tell me what's in your refrigerator. And I just thought, wow, that's great because I don't know. Yeah, you might be eating Doritos with sour cream for breakfast, and you might be eating some sort of granola bar that's got 30 grams of sugar in it for lunch, and you think that's fine and healthy. So it's getting at your answers in a different way because we're kind of tricked too. When we go to the grocery store, we see things on the shelf and it might say natural or it might say,
there's a funny
full of fiber or something, and it's not.
There's a funny Facebook video about like what natural means. Like you can see those. They make fun of it. It's just a marketing ploy.
It is. There's no regulations or rules or laws about natural. So it's, again, for me, I educate people about that so they can make the best choices and then advocate for themselves and learn what's going to be best in their world. So making those best decisions for themselves and their families. And to be armed then to go back to their medical providers or whoever is helping them and say, well, here's what I think I should be doing and question it.
That's awesome. It's so great. I mean, and that just goes back. I mean, I think that mental health needs to be a part of your healthcare practice from the practitioner side of things and the patient side of things. And, I love interviewing other moms because we're the ones that are the fighters. We usually fight for the kids and fight for our family. And come on, let's face it, Renee, right? Like we're the ones that are shopping. I mean, it's like I'll wake up, I fed myself, I fed the kids, and then, I hope my husband's not watching, but he's awesome. But then I'll be like, what's for lunch? I'm like, oh, really? You too? Like, it's up to us.
Yeah, there have possibly been some providers that maybe were not so happy with me because I've gone out and done the research, and then I just had somebody ask me a bunch of questions about like the flu shot and vaccines, and so here, link them up, let's get all the best information for you. And then you have to decide what's going to be the best for your family. But here's the information, be armed with it, and then go to have a discussion. As a mom, and when I meet with other parents, I tell them, you know your family the best. So you have to make the best decision. And that includes which providers you're seeing. You know, I think sometimes people feel guilty. Well, I don't know, my family has been seeing this person for years, whether it's a dentist or whether it's the massage therapist or even your hairstylist. That's another provider too that I didn't mention, but they're going to know
what their hands on you. So they're not like us for NutraMetrix, but you're right. I mean, when you think about, that's a pretty intimate experience, and you're right. Yeah, I mean, my 4-year-old, she came home and she must have learned at school, like, my body, my rules. Like, got me who touched it all day. So you're right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Our kids out of the mouth of babes, right? They always have such wisdom in what they say.
Yeah. Think about, you know, just talking about a hairstylist too. I just had a thought, well, oh my gosh, you know, all these people that are giving pedicures, the nail salons, and how much information that we can get from a person based on their nails. And I have a person here that I network with, and she works with gut issues and bacteria, and she can, you know, help me by reading people's nails and see some symptoms with that. So yeah, it's just reaching out and gaining this network, this community of providers, so you can have people to refer to, and they're going to refer back to you then, and you're going to work together. And that's what I've been creating here, and it's feels good.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you as a NutraMetrix health professional. We support you in continuing to, you know, talk about destigmatizing mental health, because I agree that it's a movement that's gaining really great momentum. We're happy to, you know, give you the platform to say that we can talk about this, because there's some daily actions you can take to make steps in the positive direction. And that's what it's about. It's about, you know, reversing and preventing chronic diseases. And I would say mental health is one of those as well.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah. The destigmatization piece is huge for me. I was talking to Sarah about this is really a timely matter because last week at my children's school, there was a teenager who committed suicide. And so it just really put the fire under me again to get out there and be more active and make it known that there are people to talk to. And boy, you know, I just want every provider that's working with a person, a social worker, the addiction counselor, you know, whoever it might be, the staff support at school, anyone working with people, to put it out there. If you need to talk to somebody, let me know. I can hook you up. You know, I've got all kinds of people for that. So there is help. Yeah.
My heart goes out to your community. That's definitely it. It shakes everyone to the core, you know, and you're like, oh. But you also, I mean, it's great to then blast that out as many positive messages, and, you know, and being proactive about helping as many people and families as you can get the support that they need. So thank you so much for that. And this is definitely timely. And I mean, it's definitely timely as we're just days before one of our biggest food holidays in our nation. If you guys are watching us live, you might be watching us over Thanksgiving weekend. And, you know, I'm going to think about the food choices that I'm making for my family. And, you know, we just had some conversations today, like who's going to the grocery store? What are we buying? And hoping we can take some steps in a positive direction. And we vetoed a couple items already off the menu.
Yes. And then just have, you know, the NutraMetrix bar with your aloe and enzymes and next to the buffet table.
Yeah, definitely do that. And now I can say why it's for my mental health too, not just, I mean, everyone's like, yeah, you pass out. I mean, we all joke like that we're different people, right? At the end of dinner. And I mean, I believe it. I believe that there's that gut brain, connection so much. So
yes.
Definitely thinking of you this week. So thank you for keeping your extended family as us. I mean, friends and family healthy and safe too. So
yes.
Renee, thank you for being on with us. I think this has been a really important conversation. If this struck anyone as information that you think was worthwhile, please drop us a comment and share this post. I think that's the best thing that we can do to help Renee and support the mission and continue to have the conversation.
Right. And any of you can reach out to me. I would be happy to help. I know people ask, and I do conference calls or just answering questions because I want all of you out there to be armed with the best information to help people. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Everyone have a great Thanksgiving week. And this has been another episode of our live interview series. Thanks again, Renee. Have an awesome night.
Thank you, Sarah. Talk to you later. Bye.